Good afternoon, everyone. I think we've got a few people now that's just joined us. We might just give it a couple more minutes just to see if there's additional people that will be joining us before we start. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And we're very excited to actually showcase our upcoming 2026 public tours with Trade Travel. But before we get started, I just wanted to just go through a couple of housekeeping and house rules. So we've actually just muted your microphones and we'll do so throughout the session unless you're invited to speak. We want to make this as engaging as possible, so feel free to use the chat box if you've got any questions, or you can actually wait till the end when we go through the Q&A. The session is being recorded and a replay will be shared with all registered attendees after the webinar and will also be shared with all the Probus clubs. So at the end of the session, again, we'll open the floor for questions. So feel free to write them down as we go. So to get started, I want to introduce you to Andrew and Greg, who are our Queensland franchisees. So they will be presenting to us today about the upcoming 2026 public tours. So over to you, Greg.
Nice. Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. This
afternoon, sorry.
And good night. My name's Greg Hopper, and my business partner sitting beside me here is Andrew Fife, and we're Queensland franchisees of Trade Travel. Both of us have a long history of being in the travel industry and tourism industry, and first of all, we're so happy to be here going through the public tours for 2026 with you all. This is our first foray into doing a webinar, so please be gentle on us. If any of you burst out laughing uncontrollably, then, you know, that'll do nothing for our self-esteem. I'll probably start crying. But yeah, so going on to the first slide, probably the first thing, for those of you that don't know who we are and where we've come from, we are a fully professional and accredited wholesale and travel agency specialising in senior group touring. And what that means is we do all flights, rail, insurance, and touring throughout Australia and indeed around the world. So if there's ideas that you have for your group or club or even individually, you can easily go onto the Trade Travel website and have a look at all the tours that we do offer. If you have a group and a club of friends or a Probus group or national seniors or whatever you might have, then we're also a perfect one-stop shop for you to talk to about all of your travel needs. We obviously specialise in seniors over the age of 50, right up to, we've had touring clients with us that are well and truly into their 90s. And it's one thing that we're very proud of, is the fact that we look after people, and we want people who have sometimes thought that maybe travel is finished for them. It's not actually the case. You can feel safe with the knowledge that our tour hosts, our res girls, and even us are very service focused, and we want to do something that you wouldn't normally do with another travel provider. So the next slide that you can see on your screen now is at the team. And Andrew and I are the incredibly good looking ones amongst them all, as you can see. It's years of plastic surgery that's brought us to this point. But yeah, but you can see even some of the res girls we've got, like the lovely Eve in the bottom corner, and of course, Maite, our fearless leader. Um, so yeah, yeah, you'll see other franchisees and Emma, who takes care of our website, and Deb, who you may have, she's right in the middle with the blonde hair. She's answers the phone quite often. And we're all very passionate about what we do, and we love working with the senior market. Okay, next slide. Do, 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 do. So for those of you that don't know, obviously Trade Travel as a company has been around since 1994, but now we are part of the National Travel Group. Three very strong companies or businesses that are together now that will service all of your travel needs. The National Seniors, obviously, they have their own travel branch with David Sumich and again Maite at the helm, as well as National Travel, which is really primarily for your individual travel needs. So as you would go into a Flight Centre or a Hello World, the National Travel girls are as experienced, if not more experienced, than those retail travel girls. So any questions you may have about that, that's where we can certainly service you. And that goes right through from whether you want to go on a holiday to the Maldives or a cruise. If you've ever been thinking about doing a fantastic cruise to the East and West Mediterranean, then you ring the National Travel Girls and they'll look after you. And then, of course, the group travel part of the business is the Trade Travel arm. And we do anything from 3-nighters right up to 30 days. If you're part of the Red Hatters or you're a bowls group or whatever, we can certainly help customize an itinerary, or you can buy one clean off the shelf. Okay, next one. For those of you that don't know, Trade Travel in particular have been obviously national sponsors and our gold partners of Probus for a very long time, as you can see, since 2005. But we've been working with Probus clubs even longer than that. And we're very proud of our relationship that we have with Probus and love and respect everybody within the organisation from both a national level and right down to a state level. So our loyalty program and our commitment to Probus associations and their members is very important to us, and it's something that we hold very dear. Next. So the service that we provide as a business, not only for our private group tours, but for our public, is more about the old-fashioned customer service. The very foundation of how Trade Travel is built on customer service, but the old-fashioned customer service. So we want to do things that other people won't do for you. When you're going on a tour with us, you'll deal with the same consultant from the start to the very finish. And that's something that we want to let you know that is critical to us, and is as much as it is critical to you, because you need the continuity of service and the ability to talk to somebody who knows your whole story. Next. Next. Yep. So what's included and the types of things that are included in our escorted tours? Well, first of all, what we try and do is under promise and over deliver. So that's probably one of the critical things about what we want to do as a business moving forward, is making sure that we're meeting the expectations of both you and your members. So that's using quality accommodation with meals. When we do meals on our tours, breakfasts are generally fully cooked, and you can obviously have a continental as well. Where we do lunches, we try and use, gourmet sandwich scenarios with fruit platters and juice and tea and coffee. And meals, dinners are generally 2-course, mains and dessert. Where we can with hotels, obviously one of the things that we want to do is use all ground floor rooms where possible. Hotels, we want to make sure we're using hotels that have lifts. We're also, one of the big things is making sure that we're using step over baths, using walk-in showers, not step-over baths, because even a lip on a step-over bath that's only 30 centimetres high can be quite dangerous, and they are slippery. We use experienced local guides in local areas, and quite often they're called hop-on, hop-off guides. So they'll hop on the coach and actually do a tour of a particular area with them, and they'll tell you everything all about it. And they're fantastic. You'll learn more about an area with a hop-on, hop-off guide that you would anywhere else. And that's the same when you're joining attractions or visiting attractions. Our transportation, including our coaches or transfers we use as part of tours, will take you to the airport and back from the airport. Our flights, we do from home port back to home port. And the reason we like to do that is if you're doing a tour out of, say, Sydney up to the Gold Coast, you don't want to be doing a whole day's driving to get to the end or the part where you're actually going to start touring. Using flights that'll take you directly, say, out of Brisbane directly into Newcastle is a fantastic way to go and do the Hunter Valley and Newcastle area. And then you start touring from the second that you hit the ground. And of course, our trade travel tour hosts are worth their weight in gold. And it's more about the people that we've had that we do use more than the knowledge about travel that they have. It's important that their heart is in the right place and they look after you more than the knowledge that they know. So that's pretty critical. Next. Okay. So we're now going to go on to public tours, and I'm going to hand pass over to Andy, and then Andy and I will go back and forward. So take the table.
So a very good afternoon to everyone. So we're into the good stuff now. We're into the stuff that we're really here for, and that's to talk about these great destinations that we have on offer. As Greg said, both domestically and internationally, and we'll run you through some of our great itineraries, starting with the Hunter Valley, Port Stephens and Newcastle. Now, for those of you that have done these regions before, the thing that we always say is, have you done them with a group and have you done them, trade travel style? Because what we find is that, with the attention to detail that we have, we keep you very busy, we keep you occupied, we keep you entertained. And so when you're looking at something like this Hunter Valley, Port Stephens, it's leaving in April of next year, which is 5 days and 4 nights. You'll see there's quite a bit packed into it. And as you can, and the option that you always have is to go into even more detail into our website and see a really detailed description of the itinerary, as well as a booking form should you wish to go ahead. So if you're looking at the tour highlights down the left-hand side, you can see that we're visiting places like the Ken Duncan Gallery, the Hunter Valley Gardens and Shopping Village. And as you can see in that beautiful photo at the bottom, it is one of those privately funded masterpiece gardens in Australia, as good as many things that we do in Australia. So I know for those of you that have been there before, you'd probably love to see it again. It's one of those things, one of those gardens that's magnificently manicured and cared for within an inch of its life, which is always something nice for everybody to see. Of course, there's a bit of wine tasting in that region, which you would never not do when you're in that region at McGuigan's, which is a very modern, quite lovely, impressive establishment for you to visit. The Dolphin Watch cruise in Port Stephens, I think that speaks for itself in the fact that being on the water alone is always a very, very important part of trade travel tours. We find it makes people very relaxed. It's something that, the very vast majority of all of our travellers always come back and say how much they enjoyed our water-based touring. So that's no exception. And you got Stockton Beach with the Tin City and sand dunes. Now, a lot of you may not have seen that. It's basically a tin village built into the dunes on the beach. It's something that if you haven't seen it, you need to see it just for the pure novelty of it. And when feedback comes into us about these particular attractions, this is one of those places that catches people by surprise, because if you don't know it's there, it is a little mini oasis and something that's very, very different to standard beach walks. And then also we've got the heritage listed Tokel Homestead, which, again, some of you may have been to, but others may not have. And a lot of these local homesteads and establishments are really well cared for, and you're guided through and you're given a really good insight let alone the beautiful, iconic, historic, furniture and fittings and scenery that you get when you visit these beautiful places. Now, obviously in Newcastle, you have to visit Williamtown Flight World Museum, which is, it's a jam-packed museum. It has a little bit of everything from an aviation perspective and a little bit more. So for those of you that haven't been there before, it's something that appeals to everybody, men, women, and alike. So it's a must see, which is why we always include that in tours to this region. The Port of Newcastle, it's quite a lovely place to be, and also just the proximity to the ships and freighters that are coming in and out. It's so close. You literally are right next to them when you're in that area. And then the Riverboat Postman, something that, if you haven't done, Greg and I always strongly recommend, and for obvious reasons. Once again, it's a very, very novelty experience cruising up the river and just doing something that's a little bit different, a little bit, a bit of a novelty attached to it. And I can say hand on heart from Greg and I's perspective, as can the rest of Trade Travel, is that when the feedback comes in about these destinations, and the Riverboat Postman's no exception, is that the feedback is truly fantastic. So, for this tour, we couldn't, as we do with all of our tours, but Hunter Valley, Newcastle, Port Stephens does have that wow factor attached to it for a domestic tour. So please, for yourself and for your friends and clubs, it is one of those tours that is enjoyed by all, and we strongly recommend that if you were considering to visit this region, this would be a great time and a great place to visit. So just a bit of insight into that tour, and if might say we can go to the next slide. So as for those of you that may have heard before, I was saying about this fantastic top-end Darwin to Broome trip. So departing on the 15th of August, 13 days, 12 nights up in that fantastic part of Australia. So inclusions, a Darwin highlights tour. So guided through Darwin itself. Now, for those of you that obviously haven't been to Darwin, this is going to be a fantastic experience because you get to see, Darwin, city centre, outskirts, all those types of things you want to see to get a feel for where you are before you start to move out of the area. So the Northern Territory Museum and Art Gallery is something, of course, that we take you to while you're there. And also something that we all know and is dear to all of us is the Royal Flying Doctor Service and their tourist facility. Obviously an amazing and iconic Australian business that's been, providing an incredible service for many, many years now. So the World War II oil storage tunnels, something a bit different for everyone that you wouldn't normally or most likely wouldn't stop at in this region, which is why we do like to get you to those places that may not be on the beaten track normally for the individual traveller. So you've got the Wetland View Top Visitors Centre. Then we do to the Adelaide River Jumping Crocodile Cruise, which is something that, when you're up in that region, of course, crocs are a huge part of that. An amazing, iconic Australian creature. So I know the biggest thing about that always is how many of our friends in the crocodile nature are out and about on the day, and that can change from day to day, but certainly an amazing experience regardless. So the Marrawaddy Arts and Cultural Centre, taking in some Indigenous culture, which is something, as you know, that's in Australia has a huge emphasis at the moment on appreciation, and the Yellow Water Cruise. So as I said before, we're very, very big on getting you out on the water as often as we possibly can. We find that really does define the feeling of being on holiday. I know, for Greg and I very personally, that's very much how we feel about it as well. So the Nurlangi Aboriginal Rock, to see the amazing paintings and like any of these types of things, that historical nature. If you haven't seen that before, I'm sure it'll be a tremendous novelty for any of you that you actually are able to get on this tour, for which we hope there are, many. Just pop back. That's it. The Two Gorge Cultural Cruise. Once again, I can't emphasise this enough. We are very much about mixing the water-based activities up, but certainly they are different cruises. But you are getting to see these fantastic regions by water, which we find can often be more enjoyable and exciting than land. So another fantastic cruise there. Lake Argyle, the hydro power station, and the Top Dam Wall. Another fantastic thing to see while you're there. Whale watching and sunset cruising. Once again, as per the Port Stephens trip, anything like that is always fantastic, very enjoyable, loved by all. So, once again, we do hope that you're able to get the opportunity to see, the fantastic, the whale watching and the fantastic scenery whilst out on the water. We've got the Willie Creek Pearl Farm tour, and there's a lot more as well. So, when it comes to tours like these niche tours that you don't see every day on travel providers' websites, we're trying to find that little bit of an edge, something that little bit different that keeps our competitors guessing, but more importantly, gives our travelers variety, so they're not having to regurgitate the same tours. We want to keep producing quality product for you and updating our offerings, so you've always got somewhere new to see. So it's something that we'll never rest on. We're going to continue to push the boundaries when it comes to new destinations, and hopefully present things to you in a way that you may not have seen if you're an individual traveller. So I'm going to pass over to Greg now, and he's going to take it to just jump onto the next tour. Get rid of my computer.
Right. Okay, so our next tour we're going to talk about is the Sydney Vivid Festival. And this has been one of these fantastic little short itineraries that, for those of you who would like to extend it, we do have versions of this that we can extend into the Hawkesbury, which is another beautiful part of the world. But we're talking about the Sydney Vivid in particular. So after your flight into Sydney, if you're not from New South Wales, or you're from Queensland or Victoria or South Australia, we'll do a 3-hour harbour cruise with a 4-course dinner on Sydney Harbour while the lights are all fully operational. It's a fantastic way to see Sydney from the water. You'll go underneath the bridge, you'll see all the lights on the bridge, and of course the fantastic Opera House. You'll also do the Sydney Vivid lights from the coach as well, which is another fantastic way of doing it. A little bit difficult to walk around Sydney and see all the vivid lights, so what a fantastic way to be basically transferred around the CBD in a coach, pull right up to where the lights are, and you can hop out and take as many photos as you like. You'll also do up to the Sky Tower and do a fantastic dinner in the revolving restaurant, which is a 360-degree view of Sydney. Obviously, don't do what I did, was get up and go into the toilets and then come back out and realise that the whole group had left me. And I thought, oh my God, I was in there I was only in there for a minute, but everybody had gone, and it took me a second to figure out that the restaurant was actually revolving and they just moved around the corner and I was staying still in the middle. But that's a whole other story. That's just me, You'll also do, now this is a fantastic thing as well, and we were talking about it before with local hop-on, hop-off guides. Judith Dunn is a historian of Parramatta, and she comes on board and stays with us for most of the day, and her knowledge and depth of knowledge of that area is unsurpassed. She is a fantastic lady and full of information, and really tells you things that even if you were from Sydney, you might not actually know, which is a really fantastic thing. And you'll visit Old Government House as well. You'll do a Rivercat scenic cruise, obviously, from Sydney back out to Parramatta, which is great. The Northern Beaches Coastal Drive, and you'll see scenery and mountains that are unsurpassed, like I said. Vaucluse House, including the gardens and the self-guided tour. And then, of course, you're staying 3 nights at the View Hotel, actually in Sydney. Now, you will have a view of the Harbour Bridge at night, and you just look left out your window and you'll see right up through the harbour. The hotel is situated just above the Luna Park, so that gives you an idea of exactly where the hotel is. The food in the View Hotel is absolutely fantastic, and you'll go out touring from there. All right, so the next tour on our list is the Southern Outback, which Andy will talk about.
Yeah, so look, just for your benefit, obviously, Greg and I, you can see the details there in the purple box next to the tour highlights. You can see it talks about what's included. We don't really need to go into that for every tour because, as noted, we're an organisation that provides your accommodation there, so flights, your accommodation, your meals, and all of your entertainment, and in some cases, we have done transfers and so on in the past. So if you just like to draw your attention, if you want to know that just the pricing, you'll see in the purple box on the right hand side. So let's talk about Queensland Southern Outback Trail, something that came to life about 5 years ago. And the reason it did is because a lot of you may have already done this yourselves, particularly individually or as couples in caravans and motorhomes. It's really that classic off the beaten track type trip that for a lot of Queenslanders when our borders were shut was a fantastic opportunity to see some of the outback. However, we do it a little bit differently, and I'll tell you why. It's and like for those of you that it's basically the map looks something like this. So if you can't see that, where is it? There it is. So you can see there. Basically, that's the route that you're taking through, and we'll go through it. So your Larbonne silo art is where you'll kick it off, and then going to fantastic places like the unique egg at St George. And for those of you that aren't aware, those eggs have been sent all around the world to dignitaries and leaders and all sorts of people. And an amazing little place. And then River Sounds wine tasting and lunch. Once again, a little bit of wine tasting, and we do really try and include a bit of wine tasting on all of our tours if the local wineries are up to standard with that. And not, wineries aren't just about the Barossa, so we like to do that wherever we can. And then the Cotton Farm tour, which we'll take you to. You've got the Balcon River Sunset Cruise, so another fantastic sunset cruise, very relaxing. And then the Cunnamulla Hot Springs. Now, for those of you that haven't been to the Cunnamulla Hot Springs, you can see in the top photo, there's been a very, very large amount of money spent on the infrastructure here. It's in the millions and millions of dollars. It's for the upgrade. So it's one of those things. If you're daring enough and feeling that way inclined, we give you the opportunity to have a dip. Obviously, as you would like to do. There's no point visiting, but many will and many won't. But that's the individual's choice. Then we go to the Artesian Time Tunnel tour. Something else a bit quirky. Then the Cunnamulla tour itself with sunset drinks and nibbles. A great little night. And then the water tower art. So whilst there, seeing quite a lot. 3D sound and light show and the campfire dinner while still in Cunnamulla, a great little thing to do. And then the Yulo Queen Hotel, the Thargomindah Artesian Hydro Power Plant. And as we always say, it's certainly not something you'd see in your metro regions. It's a far more basic outback version of that, but certainly great to see how this infrastructure works out in the outback as opposed to metropolitan regions. And then we have the Eromanga Natural History Museum. Once again, very, very large amounts of money put into upgrading this facility on an ongoing basis. So dinosaurs, Cooper and George in there for those of you that haven't done it, excited for you to have the opportunity to see that. The Starlight Dinner, the Lake Cattle and Sheep Station, the Quilpie Town tour, so a great little tour of Quilpie itself, the Charleville Water Tower art, and for those of you that, that have been around and travelling around Australia, particularly in the country regions, you'll know that silo art, water tower art, is as hot as anything happening in the whole country. The scope and the quality of which these murals are being painted is second to none. It's incredible artwork. They're truly gifted, these people. And then the Cosmos Centre. So, fantastic spot to see. The World War II. The Cosmos Centre, the Big Sky Twilight Tour is also a part of this. The Outback Date Farm Tour, something we've added in there. The Historical Hotel Corone Tour and Lunch. The Charleville Bilby Experience. Bilbies were, identified as an endangered species many years ago now, and the goal continues to keep them thriving in the wild and in some cases captivity to keep that that species going. The Roma Tour and Roma, the around Sound and Light Show. Once again, something a little bit different. I know something that'll be very entertaining for the masses, for everyone. It should be really enjoyable. And then finally, just we've added the Cobb and Co at Surat, the changing station, and a true classic outback experience. So, you can see the price at 4,598 there for the 10 days and 9 nights. It is a brilliant tour. What I can say is that this has now successfully been and returned many times, with the feedback being very, very consistently of the highest standard. So it is one of those tours that, that does come back and receive fantastic, fantastic feedback, which is why we've chosen to include it in our presentation today. So, Brooke, if you're in control, if you could be the next slide, would be fantastic, please. The Cairns Stay and Explore. Luckily enough for me, I did live in Cairns for 2 years and enjoyed my time up there immensely. It's a fantastic place, and it's got a little bit of everything up there. For those of you that haven't been up into that region before, which I'm hoping all of you have, it certainly is spectacular in what it offers, from the beach to the mountains to the beautiful rainforest that they have there. So this tour is departing on the 19th of July next year. It's a 7-dayer, so you're a perfect little week away. And as you'll see when I go into it, a little bit of everything. The Kuranda Scenic Railway, one of my personal favourites, and hopefully yours for those of you that have done it. For those of you that you haven't, the views are utterly spectacular. It is a fantastic experience in its own right. And before, obviously whilst up there, having the opportunity to visit the markets and the Kuranda village itself, which it's basically it keeps locals in employment. It really is incredibly important that they're doing what that you are all visiting them, and such a major part of these people's daily lives and livelihoods, in that you're able to support them and keep them going, because without the mature age traveller, these types of places no longer exist, because let's face it, my 23 and 21-year-olds are not visiting these regions. You are, which is fantastic. So, the Australian Butterfly Sanctuary, Australia's largest flight aviary, obviously something a little bit different again to what we've been talking about with other tours. The Rainforest Station Nature Park, the Army Duck Tour, wildlife encounters, which is something, it'll be very enjoyable for all. The Skyrail Rainforest Cableway. And if you've got any worries about heights like good old me here, just tend to keep your eyes on the horizon and not downwards, and everything will be just fantastic, because it is very, very much a worthwhile experience, and something we strongly insist that we really suggest you do, even if you do have a little bit of a height phobia. Okay, so the Cairns City Sites Tour, something that's it's a great place to visit Cairns, and is a destination for international and domestic tours alike. It's a great little town tour. The Palm Cove Jetty Stroll. Palm Cove, fantastic village itself, halfway in between Cairns and Port Douglas. Great place to visit. The Wildlife Habitat at Port Douglas. I've been there several times myself. An amazing little zoo that you can get up very close and very personal with a lot of animals, like the black cockatoos that they've got there, that are right there in front of you. The hospital's there as well. They've got the Mosman Gorge Guided Rainforest Walk and Welcome to Country. Mosman Gorge, are truly magnificent. The water cascading down across those, with that that beautiful yellow appearance with the water running over the rocks. And then you've got the Daintree River Cruise. So we do take you up to the Daintree, which of course we will when you're in that region. A magnificent rainforest place to visit. And then the Great Barrier Reef Drive that we do, and a lot more. You can see what's included. Great bang for buck there, just under 4,000 for the 7 days that you're up there. And as always, pretty much everything that you do is included in this tour, which is very much what trade travel are all about. Okay, so that's Cairns, the Stay and Explore, once again leaving on the 19th of July. And we'll now, Brooke, if you don't mind, to the international. We'll start some of our international stuff. Hand you over to Greg.
All right, everyone. Hang on to your hubcaps. Here we go. So we're going to talk. Everything that's mentioned that you see under the tour highlights is about a tenth of what you're actually going to do on the tour. So it just pretty much gives you an overview more than a detailed description. And that's sort of how I'll attack these next few international tours that I'll talk about, purely because there is so much content. We would literally be here for 3 days if we were talking about all of the tours and what's actually included. But we use the same philosophy that we use with our domestic that we do with our international. So, and what I mean by that is that the same level of inclusions, including the unique little attractions that you would visit, The level of food and the quality of the food, including the hosts and guides that go throughout these tours, are the same as what we use on any domestic tour. So the good thing about it is you get a consistency of service and product, which is the most important thing. Vietnam, which is one of those fantastic destinations, including the Vietnam Cambodia itinerary, is full of World Heritage sites and unique food and touring experiences that you're not likely to get anywhere anywhere else around the world. One of the most beautiful things about Vietnam and Cambodia is the people. And the culture that you get to immerse yourself in while you're there. You'll visit the temples, you'll visit World Heritage sites, rainforests, including some cruising that you'll do. You'll visit the Chi Chi tunnels and the Mekong Delta, where you'll do a couple of nights. You'll do things that have been on your bucket list that you didn't even realise were on your bucket list. And that's one of the most fantastic things about these destinations. If you've been to parts of Asia before, you would never have been to a place like Vietnam. Like Annie was saying about that classic word about bang for buck, Vietnam gives you so much bang for your Australian dollar, it's almost criminal. You'll visit markets, from both food markets to clothing markets. You'll see the same Adidas socks that you've probably seen at about 3 different markets all over the world. It's almost like the same stall holders pick themselves up and move from one country to another, which is really fantastic. But the quality of the hotels that is used throughout this tour is fantastic. And the reason we do that is to both keep you safe and your travelling partner, whoever you're going with. We want to make sure you're having a good, clean, safe experience and not getting an upset tummy.
And in saying that, if I could intervene there for one moment, I know some of you will be asking the question about food. So when it comes to food, please be mindful. We're very conscious of that. We're not going to have you eating roasted beetles and things like that. You'll be eating really high quality cuisine that's safe.
Yeah. And of course, we won't take you to the tarantula village in Cambodia either, which I would never, ever go to. You'd have to go about 100-mile radius of any village that has spiders. But as you can see by the price, it's $6,000 for 15 or 16 days. When you divide that down into a per day rate and you actually have a detailed read of the itinerary, it would be hard put for any competitor out there to do what we do and the inclusions that we include. So please have a good read. Go on our website and have a look at that tour. You'll be very pleasantly surprised at how fantastic it is. Okay, next slide, please. Actually, you can skip one because I've just talked about Cambodia as well. It is slightly more expensive, and you are going into Cambodia and you'll go to Angkor Wat and places like that. Mauritius, it's one of these little diamonds off the east coast of Madagascar. Is a fantastic tour if you want to do it and you were thinking of going to Africa. It's only another 3.5-hour flight to extend your trip. The things that it's a volcanic island, so there's a lot of large and small volcanoes dormant, obviously, on this island. It's surrounded by a reef and a breaker that's about 400 metres offshore. So right from your hotel, this fantastic resort in the bottom of the island in this beautiful spot called Ballonbri, you'll be staying at the Tamasa, which is a good solid 5-star resort. It is one of these unique itineraries where it's classified as our full board. So not only do you get all your meals at the resort, but you also get all of the alcohol, which is something that we're very proud of. It was a deal that was done with the Tamasa many, many years ago, which was we were asking them, what could you do different for our senior groups if we bring senior groups over there that Tom, Dick or Harry wouldn't be able to get? And they then offered the alcohol as part of the tour at the resort, thinking that senior Australians don't drink much. Wow, that's a mistake, isn't it? Because we're all trained professionals. So, yeah, while you're at the resort, your alcohol is free and it's fantastic. If you want a bottle of wine in your little bar fridge in the room, you can do that. You'll get time at the resort. There's a fantastic bar there called the Blue Bar, not the Blue Oyster Bar, but the Blue Bar. And you generally do pre-dinner drinks before dinner there. There's many nights that I've been with groups over there and you forget to go and have dinner because they keep bringing you in hors d'oeuvres and things like that. So you just have a great time. But you will go and see some fantastic things that I'll now mention. I'll just talk about the pictures that you can see in front of you. That's the Notre Dame Church up in the northern part of the island. Below is the coloured earth of Carmel, and you'll also visit this fantastic waterfall. Now, as you're walking from left to right across the front of that coloured earth there, it changes colour. It's volcanic rock, and the light reflects off the little crystals in the rock, so it looks like it's a moving collage of colour as you're walking across it. There's also giant turtles there as well, so you don't have to worry if you're scared of turtles. It'll probably take them 3.5 years to catch you, so you'll be back, well and truly back in the coach. But fantastic to see them up close and personal. You'll go into the capital and go up to the fort. Now, for those of you that like your diamonds, fantastic place to buy jewellery. The diamonds there are cheaper than what you'd buy in Australia. You'll also visit some temples. You'll visit the St Albans estate, which is a beautiful French designed estate that has a rum distillery and a vanilla house, and has also got one of the rarest trees that you'll ever see in the world called the kapok tree, which the kapok used to be used to fill mattresses and pillows back in the day. And they've got these giant seeds that look like a cotton tree, and all the grass is just covered in kapok, which looks like almost snow on the ground. It's absolutely amazing. It's something I'd never ever seen before. You'll visit the World Heritage slave site, because like many parts of the world, Mauritius was colonised by the Dutch and French as well as the English. So it is just a brilliant destination, and I won't spoil it by mentioning everything that you do. But two of the fantastic things that you can do when you're over there is the walking with the lions experience. When you do walk with the lions, as you see in that picture there, you do actually walk with lions. You do get to pat them, which is brilliant. They only walk the lions up to about 2 years old, and then after 2 years old, they want to tear your leg off. So best you don't do that. And you'll also do the catamaran cruise between the breakers that are 400 metres offshore. The water is crystal clear, and the fish literally jumps clean out of the boat straight onto the barbecue, and you'll drink beautiful Jamaican or southern parts of the world rum and forget your name after about 2 hours, which is fantastic. Okay, next slide, which is another fantastic destination with trade travel, and something that we're very proud of, and something that I absolutely loved and love to show people photos of. If you're into your elephants and nature, this is the destination for you. Don't worry about going to India. Sri Lanka is India for beginners. It's a fantastic, safe environment. The Sri Lankan people, again, like the Vietnam people, are beautiful people. The hotels that we use are all 5-star hotels. The food is fantastic and safe and clean. That photo in the top right-hand corner you'll see in your slide there is taken from the restaurant where you'll have lunch, which is an orphanage sanctuary for elephants. They wash the elephants, and the elephants all bathe in the river, and then they come out of the river and walk straight past you. And when I say straight past you, you're within maybe 10, 15 metres of the elephants as they walk past you with their handlers back up to their area. It is just a wonderful experience, and it looks exactly like it looks on that photo, and it's one that they use quite often on National Geographic or those type of nature shows. They do show the elephants actually washing in the river. Below is the Kingdom of Sigiriya, and the hotel that you'll stay at looks directly at that rock from a distance, and it's got a beautiful infinity pool. Again, the hotels that are used throughout this tour are absolutely breathtaking. You'll then travel like we do on most of our international tours. When we take you somewhere, we like to take you everywhere. So we take you to every part of Sri Lanka, doing a loop. And we start heading in like up into the fantastic, famous tea country of Sri Lanka, where Lipton tea comes from. You'll get to see the process of how they pick the tea. You'll learn all about tea, where the difference between green tea and normal tea. If you didn't know this, green tea are the brand new little shoots that grow out of the top of the tea plant, and they'll pick that separately. They put it on massive big drying beds where they blow air through the tea like they've been doing for hundreds of years. You'll visit a fantastic batik factory where the ladies will show you how they dye the batik right through the entire process of how they put the wax on and the different bars that they've been using, and again the way they've been doing it for hundreds of years. And you can purchase the different clothing there if you want to take something home. The spice garden that you'll visit has all the different types of spices, including the chocolate plant, and you'll get to see an actual chocolate plant and what it looks like before it actually becomes the Cadbury's chocolate or Lindt chocolate that we eat, which is absolutely fantastic. The candy markets, there's cultural dance shows that you'll visit. There's markets, obviously, that you'll also do. You'll visit a fantastic English-style house and garden. You'll go up to the gem factory, where I'm sure you probably all know the Sri Lanka was famous for its sapphires. You can actually choose a stone and have the actual stone set in jewelry the way that you would like it, and it'll be sitting ready for you when you get back at the last hotel you stay at. And they'll you pay for it, they make it and ship it to you, so you can take it home with you. And you can, ladies and or gentlemen, it's a lot cheaper than what it is if you're going to spend in Australia to buy sapphires. You'll visit this one fantastic place out in the paddy fields, and you'll jump in these little tuk-tuks and you'll wonder where you're going. And we take you out to this this fantastic bloke that runs a restaurant, and it's at his private property. And you'll be sitting there having lunch that he's freshly cooked for you, and giant, in excess of 2-3 metre length water monitors come up out of the river. There's a fence, and they'll come right up to the fence, and you'll look down as you're having your lunch at these giant prehistoric dinosaurs that have just come out of the water. And again, you would never see that anywhere in the world. And that's one of the fantastic things, like the safari you'll do in Yala National Park. And again, you'll be out in a savannah in these four-wheel drive vehicles, just thoroughly enjoying yourself, and elephants will just come right up to you. So that's that tour. You'll do 14 fantastic days, 13 fantastic nights in Sri Lanka for as minimum. It's only $6,200, and like I said, another bucket list place to go that you didn't even know was on your list. So the next tour that we'll talk about is the brilliant
It's Singapore. So I can say one of my favourite places to visit in the world, and ever growing, ever improving. What that is Singapore, with the incredible amounts of money that they spend on infrastructure, and it seems that spending, the sky's the limit for them. So this tour departing in July, and as you can see, the first departure is sold out, which is no surprise, because what we do is we take you there in one of the most exciting times for Singapore, which is the biannual Garden Festival. So this is the 10th edition. So one of the things about Singapore is, that's associated with this magnificent place is safety. So it's beautiful, it's clean, and it's safe, and it's highly entertaining. So what we do is we take you there for 8 wonderful days in July. So for the 8 days and 7 nights that you're there, we're going to keep you really busy. And you can see by some of the photos, in the presentation, particularly one of my personal favourites is Super Tree Grove at the bottom. Just an utterly spectacular piece of infrastructure. So, very briefly, because I know we're all time conscious. So it's a half-day tour of Singapore itself, including the Cricket Club, Parliament House, the Supreme Court and City Hall, as you do when you're in Singapore. Once again, inside around that 10-hour, we like to make sure, particularly for the mature age travel, that these are places that you're not torturing yourself to fly to, so you can still arrive and be reasonably fresh and comfortable to enjoy yourself on tour. So Merlion Park, the Temple, the Sultan Mosque, take you to the Sunset. Well, obviously the Marina Bay Sands Hotel is something that's just utterly incredible. For those of you that aren't aware, haven't seen the pictures, the Marina Bay Sands Hotel is basically designed. It's a triple tower with, it looks like a large ship that covers the top of the three towers with the lookout. Probably one of the most impressive pieces of infrastructure built in Asia in recent decades. So I do hope, as I said before, that like all of our tours, you do get a chance to see it, to get up there to the lookout and enjoy it, that amazing Marina Bay precinct. We do the Raffles tour in high tea, which is fantastic, as you know, such an iconic and historic place to visit. The bumboat cruise, very relaxing. We do the Botanic Gardens and the National Orchid Garden, and I know many, many people that love this region of the world love it for its orchids. They are very notorious and famous for their orchids, and in general now, you can say that all of the gardening and all of the landscaping that you'll see in Singapore, particularly during Garden Festival, is maintained to the highest possible level. Certainly they take great pride in what they do over there. Lunch at Ahalia at the Ginger Garden restaurant. We do the Garden Festival, as noted. We do the Gardens by the Bay, the Flower Dome, the Cloud Forest, Super Tree Grove, which illuminates up at night, has the fantastic walkway through you can see half to 2/3 of the way up you can go on to. Truly spectacular is the only way you could describe it. The War Memorial and the Commonwealth War Cemetery is something else that you'll visit while you're over there. And of course, the incredibly famous Singapore Zoo that, so many of us, and hopefully those of you that haven't experienced this magnificent place, get to see in the very near future yourself. And of course, we did the night markets, which, as Greg mentioned before, markets are always nice to visit. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's about the people that you meet and the things that you see and the things that you haven't seen potentially is where these places certainly are standouts. So the Singapore Garden Festival, personally, I just could not more highly recommend this tour to anyone that's interested in going into Asia, just because of how genuinely impressive this place is and what it has to offer and see while you're over there. So that's Singapore, 8 days and then I'll hand back over to Greg for our final international destination before we then head into just a quick close off. So Greg, over to you.
Okay. Our next destination is Borneo. It's been a destination of ours for quite a number of years, and something that I know one of our product people and co-founders of Trade Travel, Jared, is very proud of, and I know he loves it because of the war history. For those of you that, if you're not aware, there's obviously a deep history there with the POWs from the Second World War through the Death March, and you will on this tour be part of the Memorial Service Day in Sandakan. Again, this is one of these itineraries that exceeds your expectations, because you have no idea what this beautiful country has to offer until you actually go there. The tropical rainforests through to the incredibly high mountains like Mount Kona Kinabalu, which is so high it's above the clouds. You think you see the top of the mountain, and then you all of a sudden realise if you kink your neck right back, you can see the top of the mountains appearing through the very top of the clouds. You'll see the proboscis monkey like in the top of the photo there, with his big nose and his bald-looking head, through to the orangutans and sun bears at the Orangutan Rehab Centre. You'll visit these fantastic tea houses, because there is a history of the English being in that area, you'll see a lot of beautiful old architecture. You'll also visit the POW war memorials, like I mentioned. You'll do the rehabilitation centre for the orangutans. You'll have a cruise up the river, and if you're really lucky and everybody's quiet, you'll see the little pygmy elephants that'll come right down near the river, which is absolutely fantastic. You cruise up on a longboat. You'll visit a little village and meet the children and the people in the village, and it's just a wonderful experience. Again, it's one of those things like we talk about in a lot of our international tours, that we'd like to take you to places that you haven't been before and take you to and experience things that you wouldn't have done before. And that's probably the key to it, is there's always some fantastic attractions that you'll visit. It doesn't matter where in the world you go, but sometimes you find the diamonds in the rough when you go a little bit off piste and you visit some just wonderful individual people that own these either properties or attractions that are so passionate about what they do. So you'll be flying in and out of Melbourne for this tour. So if you're going ex-Brisbane, you fly into Melbourne, same with Sydney. It's a nice, easy flight. It's not too far. The hotels, like we mentioned before, you'll be staying in, the La Meridians, which are a fantastic chain. Rainforest lodges when you're in some parts on the river. Again, and it's something that if you've always wanted to go somewhere that you can really immerse yourself in the culture of the place, then Borneo is definitely that place. Like the cultural village that you'll visit, and you'll meet the Aboriginal people of Borneo and the different types of Aboriginal villages and people of Borneo itself. It is a wonderful place to visit. And I, with my hand on my heart, 100% recommend that all of you go there at some time in your life. So, yeah, without further ado, we'll finish off with Andy just giving you a wind-up of everything. On behalf of myself, I'd like to thank you for being so patient, sitting there listening to us for now an hour and 31 minutes and 29 seconds.
It's actually an hour and 4 minutes, but certainly...
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, it was still fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity.
104 p.m. Who's that laughing?
Sounds like Sue. Hey, so can I, just in summary, it's one of those things that for those of you that have travelled with us before, you know what we're about, you know what we do and how passionate about what we are and what we can provide you. For those of you that haven't, we're an organisation that, hand on heart, believe we're the best at what we do, and we think that we prove that in our actions and what we have to offer. Certainly, we've been around for a long time, decades and decades now. We have a very, very honest approach to what we do, and that showed during COVID when we were able to really take care of our travellers and those that weren't able to travel, trying to, obviously helping them very much with getting through that time as we did ourselves. We're accredited. We're an accredited organisation. Your money is safe with us. It doesn't go into someone's abyss, and we will look after you. We will protect your money. We will protect you. We will look after you, keep you safe, and feed you well. And that's something that we're very, very, very proud of. And we can look after you from start to finish. So we don't do anything other than help you from start to finish. You get a consultant from start to finish. You'll be able to enjoy the tour, come back, provide your feedback, all dealing with the same person. And I think that's real peace of mind. So next slide, might say. I know we're nearly there for everyone. Thanks for your patience. Brooke. And we've just got a short video, if that's going to be friendly to us today. If not, we'll kick on. Let's see if the video wants to play today.
And for those of you that wanted to know, that's just in Southport on the Gold Coast here.
And I suppose on conclusion of that video, it just goes to show that what we've been able to talk to you about today with our 10 appetizer tours, something that we're really excited about is that we have such a huge range of product that's been tried and true historically and continues to be built, as I said before, for your variety. So, it's an exciting time for travel. Everyone seems to be on board and excited about it. No one more than us. So
Next slide.
Next slide.
More.
Even one more. Doesn't want to play ball. Doesn't want to go to the last slide.
We could probably ask questions now if anyone's got any questions.
Yeah, before we open up the floor, just a couple of things that's really important that just in case you feel like you need to ask. There's a really strong understanding of dietary requirements. So that's a very, very normal part of the business that we undertake. We appreciate mobility, very much about getting you looked after if you've got limited mobility. We're very much trying to make sure that the meals that you're receiving are in line with what you would expect. We certainly would be happier to overfeed you than underfeed you, but our experience tells us that you don't want to eat a giant steak for lunch and a giant steak for dinner. So we try to make sure we get that balance right for you so you feel like that we're slick in what we do, that we really understand the mature age traveller. So, with our trusted partners, with the fact that you've got that assistance when you need it, traveling, all the travel arrangements that we can help you with, as Greg said, everything from, we cover everything, including even insurance advice. A finalist last year from an awards perspective in the National Travel Industry Awards, we certainly are a one-stop shop for your travel. And as I said, we do cater for everything. We do everything. And obviously from Greg and I's perspective, we can also, if we're building tours for clubs, organisations, we work with senior centres, Probians, retirement villages. There's nothing that we aren't prepared to go out and visit with people from all walks, including all of you. We're here when you need us. So please always remember, all you have to do is touch base, and we will help you in every way we can.
Any questions? Oh, travel insurance. Dum, dum, dum.
Travel insurance. So for those of you that just, obviously we're not going to any tremendous detail, but certainly, travel insurance discounts for the groups are available, and we will absolutely assist you with that. Of course, with your travel insurance, depending on what organisation you're from, you might have something like a platinum credit card insurance to Probus insurance to your own preferred supplier. However, our message to you is we are here to help you with your travel insurance. It's something that, any reasonable person knows that they have to take out. It's compulsory for international travel, and we are here to help you. And we do have many options available to discuss with you in terms of making sure you're protected while you're on holidays, and whether that might be something as simple as losing a bag to becoming ill and needing to know that you've got the backing behind you, that we are here to help you, and as our partners and friends in the industry. And join the travel club. There's a QR code there. You get exclusive access to offers, insider tips, tailor-made all-inclusive escorted tours that we've just talked about, and cruising is another thing that, that we do. And, to go back again, what Greg said earlier, we are a one-stop shop for travel. The National Travel family can help you in any way, shape or form with your travel. And I think that's something that, when you're talking about us and to your friends, that we certainly are someone that, we're on the rise, when we genuinely believe that we're the best at what we do. So, onward and upwards. Before we take any questions, that's our final message to you, is we offer a great product that's been around for a long time and is very trustworthy. Past Passenger Reward Program. So obviously we have some incentives there for you, in that the more that you travel with us, the more that we will reward you with our loyalty program. So, for those of you that want to investigate that more and talk with us more about the rewards program, please feel free to talk to us, do your own research. We are one of those companies now and into the future that wants to reward our frequent travellers. We want to make sure that you feel valued. So, we are very, very much looking to reward you for your loyalty to us. And I'm assuming we're nearly at our final slide. There's our contact details.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, as you can see there, contact details, it's as simple as www.tradetravel.com.au. We certainly would love to hear from you. There's certainly many, we're all ready and willing to take any call from you, email from you, however you wish to touch base. We're ready and waiting to talk with you about what we've got to offer. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen to Greg and I, and hopefully this information has been really invaluable to you in terms of, your travel, current, future. And I'm assuming we're going to hand the floor over for questions now.
No questions.
Anyone ready to go first? There's normally someone wants to go first.
Anybody? They're on mute.
I've got some questions, Greg and Andrew, just in regards to Mauritius, and also, like, I think we do Cook Islands. There seems to be sort of like a perception that with these islands, it's just about staying at a resort, and really just sort of like a flop and drop kind of concept. But the tours that we do is really far different to that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's what when you go to any destination, whether it be domestic or international, we don't do the type of tours where you sit around a pool and read a book every day. Yes, on some of the longer tours you have the opportunity on a free day to do that, but we're getting you out there and you're meeting the people and you're experiencing the country or area that you're visiting. That's what travel is all about. It's about getting out there and meeting the people of the world and of your own country. So that's what we do.
Okay. Kath, Saville, you've got a question. Please go ahead. What I'm going to do is just going to make sure everyone can unmute themselves. So just hang on 2 seconds.
I think I'm unmuted. Am I?
Oh, perfect.
Okay. I've got a few questions. Sorry, I would have put it in the chat, but for some reason the chat wouldn't let me into anything. But I'm just wondering, how much on average, I know it's hard to say, but say if your trip's $6,000, what would the single supplement generally be? Is there a way of working that out, or?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question, and that's something that Andy and I, we talk about this a lot. It's got to be one of the biggest questions that we ever get asked. And the good thing about us, and this is something that you can be rest assured, our single subs, they're small and they're only the other half of the hotel room cost. So when we cost an itinerary, the hotel room cost is divided by 2, and that's where the per person twin share price comes from. So if you want the room on your own, you're only paying the other half of that room cost. So all of our itineraries specify the single sub cost on them, but you'll see whether it's domestic or international, the cost is fairly low because it's only the other half of the room. That's all.
No, terrific. The other thing I was wondering is, are you able to post out the thinking of taking this information back to the club? And we have had a speaker come out. Sadly, I was travelling when they came out, so I didn't get to see them. Do you have any brochures available that we can that you post out, or do we need to download them and print those ourselves?
No. We do. What state are you in?
Victoria.
Okay, so Sue or Glenn would be happy to post out a group's itinerary brochure. It's like a little magazine book, and it's got every tour that you could think of listed inside it. Then you just flick through it, find ones that you like, and you can contact your local trade travel area manager / franchisee, and they can send you out a detailed itinerary. So
Okay.
we can easily do that.
Maybe I'll check with the president, see if they've left one of these. It would be great. Thanks for that.
That's okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just to recap on that thing too, like we said, Andy and I, for those Queenslanders, are also always available. I'm generally available between 9 a.m. and 9:05 a.m. and then any time after that, ring Andy. He can do your lawns. He's good at cleaning windows. Anything, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a good bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm kind.
So obviously there's no more questions. So thank you very, very much everyone for your time. We're very grateful and thanks, Maito. Thanks to you for guiding us through this. I know we had some technical glitches, but there's nothing humanity can do about that. So thanks everyone for your attendance today. We are very grateful, and we do very much hope to see you in our individual states at some stage and get a chance to meet you face to face. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Are we staying with you, Mike?